Hello and welcome to the group exhibit Hydrogen Fuel Cells at the HANNOVER MESSE 2012. Please come and take a seat and join us for this interview with Hydrogenics. I'll be talking to Dr. Bernd Pitschak, and we will be talking about technology for fuel cell buses. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Bernd Pitschak to the stage. Hello.
Hello. Thank you.
Right, so welcome. Welcome back. Hydrogenics is, of course, a well-known player in the hydrogen fuel cell market. But today we're going to be talking about the technology you have for fuel cell buses. So maybe you'd like to begin by telling us a little bit about what the different products are that you offer for fuel cell buses.
Yeah, thank you for that opportunity. So for hydrogen buses, we offer PEM fuel cells in a plug-and-play configuration. That means that the balance of plant, which is required to make a stack and operating and running system, is already included in our what we call IPM power module. So that makes it very easy for the bus OEMs to integrate that fuel cell into a bus.
Okay, so you offer fuel cells to different clients, but are you focused on a particular type of client?
The typical client is the bus OEM, so the manufacturer of the buses who has a relationship with the public transit companies. And if that bus OEM is interested in alternative drivetrains, then of course we are interested in the bus OEM itself. So it doesn't matter who it is, we can supply to all the bus OEMs.
Okay, and for different types of buses, do you offer different types of fuel cells and different models?
Yes, indeed. The most interesting buses are the regular standard 12-meter buses, the so-called solo buses, and the 18-meter buses, the longer buses we all know from the street view. For these buses, of course, we offer different power ranges of the power modules depending on the hybridization we typically have in a fuel cell bus. You use batteries and ultra cabs together with a fuel cell. It is a request for, let's say, 90 kilowatt electrical output from a fuel cell, 120 kilowatt electrical output, or even 180 or 240 kilowatt electrical output.
Okay, and what are the technical advantages of your system?
Yeah, we are honestly quite proud to announce these advantages. We have, maybe that is a key advantage, we have a freeze-protected system. So, as you know, in the process of a fuel cell, you generate also water. And in the past, you also had to humidify the air going into the fuel cell, even the hydrogen going into the fuel cell. And water, if the bus is standing still overnight, water causes a problem because you cannot add any additives to this water because it's generated in the cell itself. Therefore, if it gets to minus temperatures, the cell can freeze, and when it freezes, the water changes its structure, it becomes ice, it grows larger, and it breaks the stack. In the past, you had to have an additional heating system with such a fuel cell, and you had to plug it into a 230 volt connection, so you kept the fuel cell warm. But if you forget that, the fuel cell will freeze and you have a big damage on the bus. It's quite expensive. And what we have achieved is that our fuel cell dries out and it can freeze, and it can also start down to minus 14 degrees. So there's no extra you have to add to it, and this is not only a convenient situation for the operator, it's also a safety function because it eliminates the risk of having a serious damage, and that was a big milestone for us to achieve.
And is that what makes you very different to your competitors?
The freeze protection makes us different, as well as a highly integrated system itself. When you come over to our booth, which is directly behind here, this forum area, you can see our HD90 on display. When you realize the size of it, for a 90 kilowatt net output, including all subsystems, including control safety functions, we have a volume of about 450 liters only. If you benchmark that what is available within the industry, you will realize that this is one of the highest volumetric densities which was achieved, which reduce on the one hand weight, on the other hand the size requirements, and that makes it easy to integrate because you find easily a spot for it. On the other hand, if you have reduced weight, that increases the passenger capacity. And that is what it's all about in bus. It is passengers transported per kilometer for a certain price.
Yeah, fantastic. And can you tell us something about the lifespan of the fuel cell?
Yeah, that's also a very important one. We all know that from the history how long buses are in operation, and what has turned out to be the standard of today is that you have to achieve 15,000 hours up to 20,000 hours of operation, and our modules comes with a standard guarantee of 20,000 hours of operation, so you don't have to take care as an OEM about this major concern, what happens if something breaks. So it's all covered by a standard warranty, and we offer, in addition to that, an all-in maintenance contract. So over the lifetime, we guarantee the power module to be operated in the bus. It's all in, spares, wears, service, whatever it is a fixed amount, and the customer can clearly calculate his expenses during the lifetime of the buses.
Great. And where can we see the Hydrogenics buses in action, and how many do you have running?
We have performed so far 21 buses worldwide. Therefore, it's a bit difficult to find them because they are in various slots. But in the area of the Ruhr area, Ruhrgebiet in Germany, you can see 2 buses in operations. Others are in North America. So actually, I can't remember actually if it is 5 or 6 buses which are still in operation, but 21 we have performed so far.
Okay, and do you have a prognosis for this year? Will there be more?
We still see demand for fuel cell buses. They are all funded by public projects, of course, and therefore you have to wait till a new project is finally released or in operation. But there is definitely a rising demand for fuel cell buses.
Okay, fantastic. Do we have any questions, by the way, from the audience? Please do raise your hand at any point if you want to ask anything. No? Okay, well, obviously fueling, hydrogen infrastructure goes hand in hand with the fuel cell buses. Does Hydrogenics offer technology and fueling stations?
Yeah, thank you. I haven't introduced the company in the beginning, so Hydrogenics has different businesses we are in. Basically, that is on the one hand fuel cells, PEM fuel cells, and on the other hand, that is electrolyzers to produce hydrogen for industrial applications. But on the other hand, these from the electrolyzers we have developed also in fueling infrastructure, where we do not distinguish between so-called CSD, where you have only delivered hydrogen, you compress it, you store it, and you dispense it, or if the fueling station is based on electrolysis, where you generate the hydrogen on site, typically by the use of green energy. So we have supplied more than 40 fueling stations worldwide. That could be that we either supply equipment for the fueling station, so that we build the entire fueling station, and we have also taken over the service for all Shell hydrogen fueling stations in California. So it's a big part of our business.
Yeah, fantastic. And how big in general is the transportation part of the Hydrogenics business?
That depends from year to year. As I said, it's all based on funded projects, and so it is depending on who wins a call and how many buses are in the call. But typically, it plays a significant part to our business. Yeah.
And why does Hydrogenics find fuel cell buses an interesting market?
There are 2 aspects of fuel cell buses. First of all, there is a need to reduce emissions. We all know that there are regulations in place which ask for lower CO2 emissions as well as for particles. So you have to go for different technology if you cannot achieve that with internal combustions. The fuel cell buses offer a good range compared to other technologies. They're easy to refill. It's like filling up a natural gas car, so it's quite practical and fast. On the other hand, you reduce also the noise emissions, and which is quite okay for inner city transport. When you reduce noise emissions, you take off stress a lot. And the other hand is the fuel cell buses transport the technology to all the people in the city. It's difficult to drive these days a fuel cell driven car, a fuel cell powered car, to experience yourself what is the new technology about. But entering a bus and driving a fuel cell bus gives you pretty much the same feeling, and therefore it's also helping the entire technology to become more publicly seen and raise the awareness and the acceptance for that technology. So therefore I believe, besides reducing the emissions, keeping the regular use of the bus pretty much on the same level, it helps also the publication of the technology itself, and therefore it's very beneficial for us.
Definitely, it must be every city's dream with the air quality and how quiet it is. But how has the response been from the cities that you've worked in?
we know that the response from the public, who has then taken the bus for their daily use, is extremely positive. Wherever you go to, the people are excited about the new technology, that they can experience this, and typically they like also the aspect that it is greener and that it is emission reduced. So overall, it's very positive.
Yeah, fantastic. Do we have any more questions from the public? Don't be shy. No? But what about the barriers then still facing the commercialization of this of fuel cell buses?
Barriers, of course, is cost. I mean, we have discussed that nearly in every presentation here, that costs have to come down for that technology. That is also related to quantities, so what you can really sell. If you only build one bus, or you can do 10, 20, 40, 50, whatever, that would help. The other thing is that we have to set up more fueling stations. That's one thing. And yeah, when we can come down in cost, I believe that the technology, not the technology, but the buses will increase in numbers, and that helps. And then the major hurdle is overtaken. Besides that, of course, lifetime has to increase further. We have to face towards 40,000 hours of operation, and the second life of the buses is also a thing which hasn't figured out yet. When a project is ended, the project has ended. But typically, when you operate buses, you operate them for 7 to 12 years in the first part, and then the bus gets an overhaul and gets in the second market, and that second market has also not established. That is something we have to work on within the next project, that we think further out. So let's say after 4 years operation, the bus goes in the second life operation, and we monitor that too, to establish the full industry scenario for buses.
Yeah, because when did your first buses go into operation?
First buses went into operation by 2003.
Okay, so have you had some interesting findings from this?
Yeah, we did a lot of learnings on the buses, yeah.
What are your plans for 2012, especially for transportation, and where do you see the interesting markets? Which cities are going to be more interested?
Europe is definitely a very interesting spot. We see more and more cities being interested these times, also cities from areas which haven't shown interest in hydrogen technology at all. So it spreads all over Europe, and it also goes along with other activities in Europe to set up a hydrogen infrastructure connecting different countries by building so-called hydrogen highways. So it's linking together the various countries, as well as we see further interest coming from North America.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you for coming to talk to us today. Do you have anything that you want to achieve this week at the MESSE? You want to invite particular people to your booth, which is right here by the forum?
Everyone is welcome to join our booth and have a look on the technology and chat further with us. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Well, if there are no further questions from the audience, then I will thank you very much for joining us today. In a few moments, we will start the next session with ITM Power. It's on hydrogen on-site trials with Steve Hallett, who is the applications engineer. Thank you so much for joining us.